और हम इस ऑनलाइन कंपाइलर के थ्रू अपने कोड को रन करके देखेंगे, कुछ सैम्पल प्रोग्राम्स बनाएंगे और उसके थ्रू पाइथन के हम कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स को समझने की कोशिश करेंगे। पर पहले मैं आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कर दूं इस कंपाइलर से। अगर आप ऑलरेडी अपने मशीन पे या लैपटॉप पे या फ़ोन पे कुछ इंस्टॉल कर चुके हैं प्रोग्राम करने के लिए तो इट्स ऑल राइट, नो प्रॉब्लम। अगर नहीं कर चुके हैं तो आई विल advise you to search for an online Python compiler, and you will find this specific one which I am using right here. The name is online GDB. GDB stands for G debugger. हम debugging वगैरह के बारे में बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे, but this is the one that I'm using, online GDB. It uses a lot of languages, so it's available for C, C++, Java, but we are only interested in Python, so we are using the Python 3 compiler in this website. And the reason that I want you to use this website rather than installing something on your device or phone is because I can share the code with you with the share button. If I click on this, then it will generate a link for me, and I can copy this link and send it to you. And when you will open, you will see this code in your browser. And if you are doing an assignment or if you are working on some code, आपको कोई error होता है and you have to ask me about the problem that you are facing, the error that you are facing, because when you start learning a language and you'll start doing assignment in the language, you'll encounter several problems and errors and things that you don't really understand at the beginning. They will create problems in the code. So you may have to ask and discuss the result with me, and for that this is a very nice tool because you can share the code instantly. With a click you will get a link and you can send it to anyone. Okay, that being said, पहले मैं कुछ चीज़ें इस कोड में दिखा दूं जो ऑलरेडी यहाँ लिखी हुई है. When you'll open this you'll see some sort of code already written on this page. Okay, पहले already ऐसा लिखा होगा इस पेज पे. These three quotes, this is single quote. This represent the comments in Python language, and comment is something that is ignored by the program. यहाँ पे comments में जो कुछ भी लिखा रहता है, that is simply a message. It is something that only a programmer sees, या only those who can see your code can understand. जो लोग प्रोग्राम को रन करेंगे, एक्चुअली जो उसके यूजर्स होंगे, उनके लिए ये कमेंट जो है वो मायने नहीं रखता है. दिस हैज़ नथिंग टू डू विद द लॉजिक ऑफ प्रोग्राम और द कोड. दिस इज सिंपली अ मैसेज पुट देयर. सो इन्होंने यहाँ पे एक मैसेज अपनी वेबसाइट का दे रखा है, वेलकम टू ऑनलाइन पाइथन कंपाइलर, यू कैन कोड कंपाइल रन एंड डीबग प्रोग्राम्स ऑनलाइन. इस तरह के कमेंट्स हम बनाते जाएंगे अपने कोड में. अगर हमें किसी पार्ट को एक्सप्लेन करना होगा कि नीचे जो कोड लिखा हुआ है ये हमने किस लिए लिखा है या ये क्या लॉजिक परफॉर्म कर रहा है, सो हम बीच बीच में इस तरह के हिंट्स ड्रॉप कर सकते हैं यूजिंग कमेंट्स. ओके, कमेंट्स इसलिए भी यूज़फुल होते हैं कि अगर आपने कोई कोड बनाया एंड यू वांट टू राइट योर नेम दैट दिस वाज क्रिएटेड बाय मी ऑन दिस डेट फॉर दिस पर्पस, you can put all that in comment. Comment को आप कहीं भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं अपने कोड में. You can use in the beginning or at the bottom or in the middle of your program. You can use it anywhere. It does not change anything with your code. It's simply a message. It has nothing to do with your code. ये जो specific type का comment आप देख रहे हैं, जो ये 3 single quotes से start हो रहा है और 3 single quotes से end हो रहा है, this is called a multi-line comment. इस इन quotes के बीच में आप जितनी चाहें उतनी lines लिख सकते हैं. On this compiler it will appear in this slightly greenish color. If you are using some other compiler or if you are using your own installed compiler on your phone or on your laptop, you may see comments in some different color. There are also single line comments and they are written like this. They are written with this pound sign, and after you write this pound sign you write a single line of comment. Okay, so suppose I can write that this is a comment. All right, and writing this is same as writing the above comment. इसका भी कोई code से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. It will not affect our code. This is just a message, a hint that I put in my code. इसको मैंने यहाँ रखा है सो दैट अदर्स कैन अंडरस्टैंड माई कोड, और अगर मुझे बाद में अपना ही कोड देखना हो मे बी 2 years आफ्टर दिस और 3 years आफ्टर दिस एंड आई फॉरगेट कि नीचे जो मैंने कोड लिख रखा है वो किस लिए लिख रखा है, then these hints come in handy in understanding those situations. So comments are very useful. There are two ways to write comments. First is a multi-line comment. Write it using this syntax, using 3 single quotes, and the second one is a single line comment, and that is written with a pound sign in the beginning. So pound sign से आप start करोगे, तो you can write a single line comment after that. Comments को फिर हम और length में discuss करेंगे आगे, जैसे जैसे हम code अपना आगे लिखते चले
What's the
जाएंगे.
hashtag?
Yes, this
Sir,
hashtag is known as pound sign.
so we don't have to close it when our comment
No,
is
you don't have
completed.
to close it. This is a single line comment. Single line comment may this is not necessary. So you just have to open it because it knows कि एक line के बाद comment नहीं होगा. So it knows कि इसकी length कहाँ तक हो सकती है, जहाँ तक आप ये line. So you don't have to close it with a pound sign. You only have to close this one, दी मल्टी लाइन कमेंट, क्योंकि इसमें आपको बताना पड़ेगा कितनी लाइन के बाद आपका कमेंट एंड हो रहा है. सो आफ्टर दैट यू हैव टू पुट दीज 3 सिंगल डॉट्स. अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस में कमेंट लिखने के अलग अलग तरीके होते हैं. दिस इज़ द वे दैट यू राइट इन पाइथन. C++, C वगैरह में डिफरेंट सिंटेक्स होते हैं जो उस बैकग्राउंड से आ रहे हैं. दे मस्ट हैव लर्न अबाउट दैट इन देयर रिस्पेक्टिव लैंग्वेज. Okay, I'll remove this since I don't need any comment in my program, at least for now. So it's safe to remove the comment, and we'll discuss this line of code which actually does something. और पहले मैं इसको run करके दिखाता हूँ and then I will tell you that what is happening here. So this is the run button. इसको आप दबाओगे तो if there is no error in your code, the program will run. Okay, sometime you'll get an error like this, that since it is used by multiple users, sometimes they lost connection with the website. So in the bottom right here, in this tab, in this separate window, you will see that this message hello world has been written on the screen. तो आप प्रिंट के अंदर जो कुछ भी टाइप करके प्रोवाइड करते हो दैट विल बी रिटन ऑन द स्क्रीन, बट द मैसेज दैट यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग टू बी रिटन ऑन द स्क्रीन, उसको आपको डबल इन्वर्टेड कॉमास के अंदर लिखना होगा, लाइक दिस. ओके, so if you don't write it in double inverted comma, that then it has a special meaning, and we'll read about that later. लेकिन अगर आपको कोई मैसेज आउटपुट करना है, डिस्प्ले करना है, दैट इज डन इन पाइथन यूजिंग द प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट. इस पूरी लाइन को हम कहते हैं द प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट. इसका सिंटेक्स कुछ इस तरह से होता है. यू कैन यूज मल्टीपल प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट इन योर प्रोग्राम. आप प्रिंट लिखते हैं, print, and then you put these two round brackets like these. ऐसे राउंड ब्रैकेट्स लगाते हैं. अच्छा, ये भी ध्यान रखिएगा पाइथन में कि आगे आप जहाँ जहाँ दूसरी लैंग्वेजेस में भी ये होता है, जहाँ पे भी आपको ये राउंड ब्रैकेट्स मिलेंगे उसका मतलब फंक्शंस होता है. और फंक्शंस के बारे में आगे ग्रेट लेंथ में हम पढ़ेंगे कि वो क्यों यूज़फुल होते हैं और कहाँ यूज़फुल होते हैं. बट फॉर नाउ जस्ट रिमेंबर दैट कभी कभी मैं इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग इट अ प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट, I may also call it a print function. तो confuse मत होइएगा. I am just referring to these two brackets after the print statement. Okay? और इन brackets के अंदर आप inverted commas के अंदर जो कुछ भी आपको display करना है स्क्रीन पे वो लिखते हो. Suppose I want to display that this is a Python class. Okay? And I run it. Now I will see two outputs. पहला आउटपुट जो पहले प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट से जनरेट हो रहा है, हेलो वर्ल्ड, एंड द सेकंड आउटपुट इज the from the second print statement, this is a Python class. I can put as many print statement as I like, जितने मैं चाहूँ उतने लगा सकता हूँ, and they will all print in a different line. अगर मैं चाहूँ कि ये जो this is a Python class लिखा है, this should be printed in the same line as this hello world, पिछली स्टेटमेंट की तरह ही साथ में प्रिंट हो, तो that can be done like this. I'll copy this ताकि मुझे फिर से ना लिखना पड़े. I'll go inside the previous print function, उसके ब्रैकेट के अंदर मैं जाऊंगा, but after the first message has finished, I'll put a comma, and then I'll put the second message. Okay, and if I run this now, you will see two statements written one after other, दोनों एक ही line में एक के बाद एक print हो गए. So if you want to print in different lines, you can use different print statement. If you want to print in the same line, you can separate the messages by a comma. आप जितने चाहो उतने messages आगे लगा सकते हो. This is a simple message. Okay, and this will also print in the same line. So each time after I write this, I have to click on this run button. उसके बाद ये output आपको generate होके दिखता है. So using this print statement, I am giving the computer instruction. मैं उसको एक command दे रहा हूँ कि screen पे it has to print all this, but in a single line. So this is your first line of code. और किसी भी language को जब आप learn करना शुरू करते हो, so the first thing that they will teach you is how to output. किसी भी चीज को आपको display कैसे करना है, screen पे output कैसे करना है. And don't get demotivated because अभी शुरू में हमको
Sir,
इस
can
तरह
we use single inverted comma?
Yes, you can also use single inverted comma instead of double quotes. There is no difference between single quotes and double quotes in Python. So instead of using double quote, you can use single quote. लेकिन just remember that if you are opening with a single quote, you must also have to close with a single quote. You can't just use a single quote on one side and double quote on the other side. So this will have the same effect. There is no problem with this. You can use single quote or double quote, any way you like. Okay, ये जो messages हैं जब हम उनको single या double quotes के बीच में लिखते हैं तो remember that these are known in Python as strings. इस तरह के डेटा को जब हम डबल कोट्स के अंदर कुछ लिखते हैं या सिंगल कोट्स के अंदर लिखते हैं तो that is known as a string. Okay, so I will write it as a comment here so we'll remember. So anything written between double quotes and single quote is a string. ठीक है. And string is basically a text. So जैसे आपको text अपनी text book में लिखा हुआ दिखता है, it's a text. It has no mathematical meaning. क्योंकि computer is more about mathematics. It's more about crunching numbers, calculations and processing. But string are not numbers. They are simple text. इनका कोई mathematical value नहीं है. आप इनको add नहीं कर सकते, subtract नहीं कर सकते, multiply नहीं कर सकते. And mathematical operation will not happen on these strings. और इससे मेरा क्या मतलब है? I will explain you in the next print statement that I write. So let me use this print statement. Print 3 plus 4. अब यहाँ मैंने डबल कोट्स या सिंगल कोट्स को यूज़ नहीं किया है. And without double quote or single quote, I have used two numbers and I have used a plus operator between them. 3 और 4 के बीच में plus sign मैंने लगा दिया. You can also use space here. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता उससे. And जब हम डबल कोट्स या सिंगल कोट्स के बीच में नहीं लिखते हैं किसी चीज़ को तो it means that it is either a number or it is a stored value. तो stored values के बारे में तो हम बाद में पढ़ेंगे. But we can clearly see that these 3 and 4 are actually numbers. And Python will understand that these are numbers. These are not strings because they are not written in double or single quote. And it will try to perform mathematical operation on them. अगर कोई mathematical operation नहीं है तो it will simply display them. Otherwise अगर plus minus multiplication या division का sign लगा हुआ है then it will calculate the result and then display it on the screen. So इस case में यहाँ the desired output must be 3 plus 4 which is 7. So let's run this. पहले तो ये first print statement run होगी जो हमने ऊपर लिख रखी थी and then you can see that the result of this 3 plus 4 is printed as 7 here. अब इसी चीज को let me modify it and write it like this. Let me convert it into a string and let's write 3 plus 4. Okay, now the same number, same operator, but now it is written in strings inside double quotes or you can even use single quotes. तो अब इनकी कोई न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू नहीं रही, इनकी कोई मैथमेटिकल वैल्यू नहीं रही. कंप्यूटर के लिए, पाइथन के लिए now they are not numbers, they are simply text. और डबल कोट और सिंगल कोट का मतलब हुआ है जो लिखा हुआ एज इट इज को प्रिंट कर दो. यू डोंट हैव टू डू एनी कैलकुलेशन, यू डोंट हैव टू लुक फॉर एनी स्टोर्ड वैल्यूज. आगे हम स्टोर्ड वैल्यूज के बारे में पढ़ेंगे, डोंट वरी. Just print it, just display it as it is. So let me run and show you the difference between these. So you can see that the first line though as it is REN, but the middle print statement is printing 7 because 3 plus 4 adds up to 7. But the last print statement is simply writing 3 plus 4. No calculation is performed. क्योंकि वहाँ 3 plus 4, they are not numbers, they are not operators, they are not mathematical function. They are strings, they are text, and they will not add up. Okay, तो ये difference है, and this difference, if you remember this, you will understand the difference between text type and number types in Python as we go on later in this program, and you will also understand the concept of stored data. आगे हम पढ़ेंगे उनके बारे में, stored data के बारे में. अच्छा, आप कहोगे अगर हम ऐसा कर दें कि हम एक string लें 3 and add it with other string 4, okay, plus sign को हम बाहर करते हैं, तो क्या होगा? Now let me show you what will happen. Let me run this. Okay, always experiment with your code and you will see what will happen. It will just combine those two strings together. It will not add them as 3 plus 4 is 7. It will just combine them and it will make 3 and 4 is, all right, it's 34. So plus sign between two strings means you are basically combining those two text one after the other without any space. प्लस साइन और इस कॉमा वाले साइन के बीच में ये डिफरेंस होता है दैट when you write two strings one after the other in a print statement and you separate it by comma, then there is a space. As you can see here, there is space between each message. Okay, automatically space छूट जाएगा. But when you add them with a plus sign, they will simply add without leaving any space between the text. They will just combine together. So this is the difference between a text type and a string type and a numeric type, number type data in Python. अगर आप C++ या C या किसी और प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज के बैकग्राउंड से आ रहे हैं, तो मैं आपको एक और चीज़ एक्सप्लेन कर दूं दैट इन दोज प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज यू माइट बी यूज टू पुटिंग दिस सेमी कॉलन एट द एंड. ये पाइथन में नहीं होता है. And there is no main function and things like that. There is no complication. It's a very simple language. Okay, you can just start writing your code. You can just press enter into the new line and you can write next line, next print statement, things like that. अच्छा, ये तो हो गया output. Now, how about performing some calculation? What kind of calculation can Python perform and how can we write those calculation? तो हमने एक कैलकुलेशन ऊपर करके देखी इन द सेकंड स्टेटमेंट दैट वाज 3 + 4 इज. अच्छा, मैं यहाँ कुछ कमेंट भी ड्रॉप कर देता हूँ ताकि जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं वो उसका टेक्स्ट भी हमारे पास अवेलेबल होता जाए. सो लेट मी ड्रॉप अ कमेंट हियर, सिंगल लाइन हिंट दैट numeric data type are written without quotes, single or double quotes, right? Okay, plus operator in a string type joins the string. So it does not add 3 and 4, it joins them. 3 plus 4 it becomes 34 in the sense of string. What will happen if you will subtract this and will make it 3 minus 4? तो क्या होगा? So let's check this too, right? And if you'll run this, you will see that the first line is printed, जो हमारी पहली line थी जिसमें सिर्फ messages थे, that was all right. The second line was printed, it becomes 7. But the last line throws you an error and you will see error like this. Okay, and in the end you will see what the error is. This is a type error, means Python is thinking that you made some mistake in typing, and it has been written that unsupported operand type, that this operation minus subtraction is unsupported for string and string. That means between two strings, between two text, you cannot use the subtraction operator. And you will get the same thing for multiplication, for division, the only operator that will work here is the addition operator. It will join the two string. So this is the way that you find error in your code. It will be written right in the text. Sometimes you will understand what the error is and you can figure it out for yourself. In other times, you may not figure out that what the error is pointing to, and then you will have to seek advice. All right. कुछ और ऑपरेटर्स हम नीचे प्रिंट करके देख लेते हैं. And let me use the negative subtraction operator, multiplication operator, division operator, and some other operators. Okay. So these are quite simple operators in Python. So let's do print. And we are doing all this calculation inside print. क्योंकि हम ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. You can just write 3 plus 4. But you will not see the result. आपको कुछ screen पे नहीं दिखेगा because you have not told the computer to output that result. So अगर आप सीधे ऐसे लिख दो 3 plus 4, the computer is doing everything in its processor, in its memory, and it's not displaying anything on the screen. So this is same like somebody asks you to add two numbers and you added the two number but you did not speak out the result. आपने अपने मन में ऐड तो कर लिया पर बताया नहीं कि आंसर क्या है, तो उस एडिशन का आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड को कुछ पता नहीं चला. इसी तरह से अगर हम सिंपली 3+4 या 3-4 या 3 डिविजन डिवाइडेड बाय 4 लिख दें तो इट विल हैव नो इफेक्ट ऑन द आउटपुट. हो सकता है कंप्यूटर की मेमोरी में, प्रोसेसर में, इट विल ऐड और सब्सट्रैक्ट दीज टू नंबर्स बट इट विल नॉट डिस्प्ले इट ऑन द स्क्रीन बिकॉज आपने डिस्प्ले करने के लिए तो कहा ही नहीं. So you have to tell the computer that you have to display the result, and so you have to use the print statement every time that you want the result to be displayed on the screen. अब हम यहाँ पे use करेंगे the display result. We'll use 3 minus 4. Okay. What we'll do is subtract these two numbers and display the result on the screen. इसको run करके देखते हैं हम. And you can see 3 minus 4, you'll get -1 as the result in the end. The fourth print statement, 3 minus 4, it is printing -1. The other operators that you can use is obviously multiplication operator. This is the multiplication operator. Don't use the X sign, okay? X is a character. Multiplication operator is this operator in Python, in any programming language. And when you multiply this 3 into 4, it will become 12. All right. Experiment with the other numbers on your own. We can use the division operator. This is the division operator in Python. So when you divide 3 and 4, you'll get the answer in decimal 0.75. आगे जब हम आगे कोर्स में पढ़ेंगे तो आप होल नंबर्स और डेसिमल नंबर्स के बीच में भी डिफरेंसेस पढ़ेंगे एंड दे मेक क्वाइट अ लार्ज डिफरेंस इन कंप्यूटर प्रोग्रामिंग. दिस इज अ होल नंबर 7 एंड दिस इज अ डेसिमल नंबर 0.75. आगे आप इन दोनों के बीच में डिफरेंसेस देखेंगे that can occur. Okay. So apart from these four mathematical operators, there is also an exponent operator, and your exponent operator is the power operator, जहाँ एक चीज base होती है and the other thing is power. So if I want to find the square of 3, so I can write it like this: 3 raised to the power. So you use two multiplication sign together, one after the other, and then you put the power after that. So this means that you are calculating the square of 3. So 3 raised to the power of 2. And when you will run this, you will get 9 as the result. Last print statement is showing 9. You can use any power, any base in here, even decimal numbers. You can even calculate square root if you know a little bit of mathematics, that while calculating a square root of a number, पावर जो है वो हाफ हो जाती है. सो बेसिकली जब हम 16 का स्क्वायर रूट निकाल रहे होते हैं तो एक्चुअली वी आर कैलकुलेटिंग द हाफ पावर ऑफ 16. सो इफ यू डू दैट, 16 raised to the power of half, 1/2, if you run that, and you will get the result as 4, and it gives you the result in decimal because exponent function जो होते हैं वो basically खास तौर से जब आप स्क्वायर रूट निकालते हैं तो it can go into the domain of decimal numbers, so you will get the result as decimal 4. जो थोड़ा मैथमेटिकल माइंडेड हैं वो ये भी कहेंगे कि that the square root of 16 is both +4 and -4. But unfortunately, in this in Python, they only return you the absolute square root. That means only the positive value of that square root will be returned. Yeah, mathematical operator, as you will go on, you will learn more about these. कंप्यूटर प्रोग्रामिंग में एक चीज़ बहुत अच्छे से याद रखना, जस्ट रिमेंबर हाउ द सिंटेक्स ऑफ दैट लैंग्वेज वर्क. सिर्फ उस लैंग्वेज स्पेसिफिक चीज़ों को याद रखो. जैसे प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट इज यूज्ड हियर, देयर इज नो सेमीकोलन एंड यू कैन कंबाइन टू टेक्स्ट टुगेदर विद अ प्लस साइन. You can separate several messages together with a comma. ये चीज़ें याद रखो. But don't try to remember the how a plus operator is used or how an exponent operator is used, because you can do a quick um, search on the internet and you can find out all that. So don't clog your mind with unnecessary information unless you are appearing for an exam where they are asking for Python questions. Some of you are, so it might be useful to some, but for others, some of these contexts that you are reading, just remember how to work using those contexts. Logic build up करने की कोशिश करो. Don't try to memorize everything, because you can look up those things anytime you want. There are several books available, several resources available online on the internet. There is official source available from Python itself. हम भी बहुत सारे sources पे look up करेंगे as we go on through this course. तो यहाँ आपने एक नया ऑपरेटर देखा, दैट वाज द एक्सपोनेंट ऑपरेटर व्हिच कैन परफॉर्म both calculation to the powers and the calculation of square root. You can also calculate cube roots if you put the 1/3 sign here, that will calculate the cube root of 16. That's 2.51 something. That's a large decimal number. I think that it should not end somewhere, but Python just terminates it after a certain number of decimal points. Okay, so ये print statement थी. Using a print statement, you can do calculations and you can display the result of that calculation and the message onto the screen. पर जब आप कोई calculation का result screen पे दिखाते हो, and this is not just Python specific. Yes, Raman, I will explain it to you. And don't worry, this whole class is recorded. You can always find it online. I will send you the link. So kuch bhi chhoot jaye, don't worry, don't panic. Everything will be available. It's being recorded. So kuch bhi miss nahi hoga, don't worry. Okay. I'll come to that. Just go with the flow. You will understand it as we go. Okay. एक चीज़ और याद रखिएगा इस केस में, कि जब आप किसी कैलकुलेशन का रिजल्ट डिस्प्ले करते हैं, जैसे सपोज ये लास्ट रिजल्ट हमने डिस्प्ले किया, 16 का क्यूब रूट कैलकुलेट किया, इट्स ऑलवेज नेसेसरी, एंड दिस इज नॉट अ गुड पाइथन एडवाइस, बट दिस इज अ गुड प्रोग्रामिंग एडवाइस. आई डोंट नो, सम ऑफ यू माइट go on to become who knows next, Steve Jobs. Maybe you will be creating some great apps like Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, I don't know. But if you want to be a good programmer, if you want to be a good um, good software engineer, then your program, your computer applications must be user friendly. That something that you are displaying on the screen, you are showing it to the outside world. तो उसका मीनिंग भी आपको साथ में समझाना पड़ेगा. You have to put a statement that what you have just outputted on the screen. Okay, for example, ये जो last statement आपने print की, 16 का cube root calculate करके screen पे show किया, you have to put a message that what you have calculated right here in the front of this calculation. So I will do it like this. I'll put a cursor right there in the beginning of this operation. I'll put double quotes like this. And inside this double quote, I'll write a message, something. I'll write a string. I'll write the cube root of 16 is, you can form any message that is relevant to your situation or your output. Different people will form different kind of output depending on uh, how their output is and what they want to convey. और फिर आपको इस मैसेज और इस कैलकुलेशन को एक ही प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट में जोड़ना है. टू डू दैट यू विल पुट अ कॉमा इन बिटवीन. तो इससे ये दोनों सेपरेट हो जाएंगे और मैसेज पार्ट इज नाउ सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम योर कैलकुलेशन पार्ट. तो पहले आपको ये मैसेज दिखेगा, द क्यूब रूट ऑफ 16 इज, ये तो एज इट इज प्रिंट हो जाएगा बिकॉज दिस इज इन डबल कोट्स. कॉमा के बाद का जो पार्ट है, that part will be first calculated, the cube root of 16, and then it will be displayed on the screen. So when I'll run it, you'll see a nice little message. The cube root of 16 is, and 2.51, the cube root is printed after that. So it's better that you perform some kind of, put some kind of message before your final result or output of a calculation, or if you have decided something, your program has made a decision, आगे हम decision making को पढ़ेंगे जैसे आगे पढ़ेंगे हम, then you have to display a message based on that decision into your final output. So it's a good programming habit. इसके बिना भी काम चल जाएगा आपका obviously, but make it a habit if you want to be a good programmer. All right, this is the um, output part. Now I have around 8 minutes left, I think. Yes, Dia. Yeah, do you have a question? Yes.
सर अगर स्क्वायर कर रहे हो, सॉरी स्क्वायर रूट कर रहे होते हैं हम, तो
Yes.
1/2 आ जाता.
You can put half for square root. If you are finding the fourth root of 16, 1/4. If you are finding the reciprocal of 16, then put -1. This is simple exponents. And don't worry, in powers के बारे में प्रोग्रामिंग पढ़ने के लिए आपको मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ना ज़रूरी नहीं है. दिस इज जस्ट वन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ कैलकुलेशन. बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम ऐसे बनते हैं, डजंट इन्वॉल्व कैलकुलेटिंग स्क्वायर रूट और क्यूब रूट. If you are calculating something like that, you can always look up how to find square roots using exponent. Just type in on the internet and you will find the answer to that, and incorporate that information into your program. As a software developer, as a computer programmer, you might have to write programs for accountancy, for climate changes model, for weather prediction model, for mathematics, for simple games, things like that, for a wide variety of range. और आपको हर एक फील्ड की जानकारी नहीं है यार. Suppose working on a project that involves climate prediction, but you don't know anything about environmental sciences. तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि that you just go and do a course in environment science after that and you come back after 6 months and start writing the project. नहीं, you learn as you go. जितनी information आपको चाहिए, that's all available around the internet. Just search for it, use it in your program. That is the real programming. Don't never waste your time on memorizing anything. Don't make yourself a dictionary or a calculator. Turn yourself into a thinking machine कि आप किसी used information को, available information को अपने काम में कैसे ला सकते हो. That is what counts. All right, so that us being
हेलो
aside.
डबल एस
हाँ,
लगाना जरूरी है.
रमनदीप बोलिए. आपकी आवाज़ क्लियर नहीं है. You can type it if you want.
डबल एस्टेरिस्क लगाना है जरूरी है कि सिंगल एस्टेरिस्क से भी काम हो जाए.
हाँ, सिंगल इन्वर्टेड से भी हो जाएगा. यू कैन पुट सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमा राइट हियर. आई जस्ट एक्सप्लेन दिस. सो यू कैन इवन पुट दिस मैसेज. इट डजंट मैटर. कुछ लैंग्वेजेस में इन दोनों में डिफरेंस होता है, सिंगल इन्वर्टेड डबल इन्वर्टेड कॉमा के बीच में, बट यू हैव टू पुट, यू कैन यूज एनी वन ऑफ दीज इन योर कैलकुलेशन. अच्छा, यहाँ पे आपने ध्यान रखा होगा कि यहाँ मैंने एक एक्स्ट्रा rounded bracket लगा रखा है 1/3 में, and that is because I first want to calculate this 1/3 and then I want to calculate the exponent function. ये simple BODMAS rule है जो मैथ में हम पढ़ते हैं कि पहले ब्रैकेट सॉल्व होते हैं और फिर हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. So इस BODMAS या PEDMAS different name है इस rule के, that is used very significantly in computer programming. आप आगे देखेंगे जैसे जैसे आप और advanced calculations की तरफ पढ़ेंगे. रमन, कुछ और कह रहे हैं आप? I hope not. Okay. Okay. I think you have a message. Multiplication sign अगर आप single लगाओगे तो that means multiplication. That means you are multiplying 16 by 1/3. Double multiplication means exponent. That means 16 is raised to the power of 1/3. You are calculating the cube root of 16. So this is the multiplication operator and this is the power operator. This is exponent operator. So if you have to calculate the square of 16, you'll do it like this. If you have to multiply 16 into 2, you can do it like this. So that's the difference between these two operators. यहाँ हम square root निकाल रहे थे, square root, sorry, cube root, and cube root can be written as 1/3. इसलिए हमने ये दो powers लगाई for exponent and 1/3 for the cube root. Okay. I have 4 minutes remaining, so I will try to summarize one more concept into this, squeeze one more concept into this class, and that is the concept of storing values and then using them in calculation. So ऊपर जो हमने calculation की, did you see we calculated 3 plus 4 and we made it equal to 7 using our Python program. Now we'll do the same thing, but first we'll store the values in our computer. मैंने storage के बारे में आपको last class में बताया था कि the computer need to store everything and things like that, and that is very important in the program, because as you'll go on, you'll find the calculation, the values to be taken from the user of the program. कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है कि ये प्रोग्राम तो जितनी बार रन होगा, it will always add these 3 and 4, it will always calculate the cube root of 16, but perhaps your user want to calculate the cube root of 27 or the cube root of 64, and the input might change every time. So for that, you have to store that input and you have to do the calculation on that input. इसका क्या मतलब है, you will learn in the later class, लेकिन उसका एक glimpse, उससे related एक concept हम यहाँ समझ लेते हैं, storing values before calculation. So to store value, you have to put a name to the memory location. So let's say that we call 3 as A and we call B as 4. Okay. Now instead of printing 3 plus 4, we are now going to print A plus B. Okay. And again, without the inverted commas. So what this means is, from the first 2 lines, we have instructed the computer that in their RAM, in their memory, create 2 spaces, 2 small blocks of memory, call them A and B. And in those blocks of memory, hold the number 3 and the number 4. Okay, you can hold any number in between them and you can give any name to that memory location. अभी मैंने A और B लिख लिया because these are very simple names. एंड जब भी आपको उन 3 और 4 उन नंबर्स की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी जो आपने उन मेमोरी लोकेशन में स्टोर करने के लिए दिए हुए हैं, देन द कंप्यूटर विल, you just ask, okay, provide me the value of A, and the computer will give you 3, and you will say, okay, provide me the value of B, and the computer will give you 4, because it's stored in its RAM, in its memory location. If I run this A plus B will translate to 3 plus 4, and it will also become 7. So let me run this, and you can see in the end, just like the above print statement where 3 plus 4 was 7, this also become 3 plus 4 as 7, because A we have already defined is 3 and B we have already defined is 4. Okay. The thing with this is that you can use this in multiple calculation. You can also do print A into B, and it will print the result of multiplication between A and B like this. So you get 7 and you get 12. And the benefit of this is that if you want to change both the addition and multiplication function, you just have to change the number once here. So if you want to perform the calculation between 6 and 7, all right? So now both of the calculation, A plus B and A into B, will be performed between 6 and 7. You will just change it one time and it will get reflected in both of these print statement, 13 and 42. Again, if you'll put this into inverted comma, it will lose its meaning and it will just print A plus B as it is. It will not convert it into 6 and 7. It will just print A and B. I think my time with this class is over, and I will sum this class up right here. If you have any query, just contact me. I'll provide you the link to this code and to this video through whatever medium you have contacted me. And